YouTube, hello, Saint Riot, video, intro, here we go. Giza Wheel. Now I know that the title of this video doesn't say Giza Wheel. I'm aware. We'll get to it. But I just wanted to point something out here. A while back I did some testing with the Rotted Wingsword Insignia and everything else that gives you a multi-hit buff. And I tried the Giza Wheel and you guys were like, here on YouTube and on Twitch, you were like, yeah, the Ash of War doesn't work, but it totally works on the charged heavy attack, the one-handed charged heavy attack of the Giza Wheel. And so I finally got around to trying that out, and yep, charged heavy attack plus multi-hit from the, you know, the Giza Wheel spinning. That is just a lot of damage and a lot of hyper armor. That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. I had a lot of fun with this. It is not a very smart strategy, but when it works, you can't argue with it because you're dead. Corpses don't talk back, or so I've been told. It's one of these invasions where they don't want to go fight the boss. They would rather fight the invader. They got to summon up everybody. They got to summon every last person to try and fight Godfrey. And, you know, you could have just walked into the boss. You could have just walked in, you know? But you didn't want to walk in. You wanted to do Death Lightning while your friend did the Bolt of Grand Sax. You wanted that. You wanted this. Look at that hyper armor. Look at that damage. Look at those bags. Look at that. Just vulgar dancing. Just dancing on them in a vulgar fashion. It was a lot of fun. Okay, so this is my level 200 quality build. And I wanted to talk about a misconception that I see all the time. When I'm doing invasions, people are always like, oh, they did quality builds dirty. And I think it's important that we remember, if you know how to say the sentence, they did quality builds dirty, if you know what those words mean, I think it's important that, you know, we try and rethink things. Quality builds don't work the same way that they typically did, right? They're not, you can't just have 40 strength, 40 dex, and, you know, that be the end of it. There's nothing more satisfying than that cannon shot, just by the way. But Elden Ring is a game that absolutely begs you. It gets on its hands and its knees, and it says, please, for the love of God, give yourself, you know, 15 faith, or, you know, 18 intelligence or something. Just try it out. There's a bunch of really, really great quality weapons in this game that just have some faith requirement, or intelligence requirement, or an arcane requirement, or whatever. But they're quality weapons. And even on a 40-40 quality build, they will perform just as well as most anything else. That's not the point of this build. The point of this build is I just really like, you know, being able to use a bunch of physical, ape-brained smashing weapons. And at level 200, I'm like, okay, but, you know, how do you make a build at level 200? Like, is it even a build at that point? Like, I guess it's kind of a build, but it's gonna be, you know, really good. So here's the invasion. Here's some Liurnia lightning gankers. Just absolutely driving me crazy. This invasion is pretty much the rest of the video. I'll show off the build afterwards and I'll explain some stuff about the build, but But yeah, I feel like, I know I'm running a quality build right now. I think I've got like 14 faith. It's not doing much for me. It's like Catch Flame, Bestial Sling, Bestial Vitality, Flame Cleanse Me, just stuff like that, you know? It's not going to get you a whole lot. But the point of this build at level 200 was to be a very focused and dedicated type of build. And at level 200, that's insane. I want you to watch Schrodinger's Lightning Bolt here. Is he charging it or is he throwing it? What do you think? It's both. Just infuriating. Look at all this lightning. And it gets worse. But, yeah, I figured most people at level 200 are probably just going to have like 30 in every stat. And that is essentially accurate. It's just people who can do almost everything, but none of it great. And I, on the other hand, have like 70 strength and 70 dex. And all of my weapons are quality infused. So I just do a whole bunch of damage and have a whole bunch of health and a whole bunch of defense. I've only got like 40 or 50 poise on this build. But as you saw at the start of the video with the Giza wheel, understanding how hyper armor works and what attacks have hyper armor and how hyper armor is different between weapon classes. So like the Giza wheel, a colossal weapon, not a colossal sword. What a clean and beautiful parry. It's going to have a ton of hyper armor on a charged heavy attack, as it should, because it makes sense. Which is a thing that Elden Ring did very well, that I think Dark Souls 3 kind of, you know, dropped the ball on a little bit. A colossal weapon, a heavy attack, charged attack, should have all of God's hyper armor. Like, nothing in the world should stop it. That's another very annoying spell, by the way. Plasuda Sax Ruin. And I know that dude has probably killed 100 players by doing that. It's just instant, massive damage. And then the massive damage, it doesn't just stop. It continues to fire a laser beam. And now, like, if you don't panic, you can punish the laser beam. It's just hard to punish the laser beam when this is happening. Look at all this lightning. Come on. Oh, they know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. Now, here's a man who knows how to marry his cousin. But we have changed our wondrous physic to the Wizard Killer. We love the Wizard Killer. If we're invading in the lakes or whatever, we love to be the Wizard Killer. And that's just the wondrous physic made up of poise for 10 seconds, and all elemental damage is converted to health for 10 seconds. And we love it. If you find yourself struggling against some lake gankers who are just abusing the hell out of lightning, give that a try. So here's my stats. Like I said, 70 strength, 70 something dex, 75 maybe. 60 vigor, 30 endurance, 12 faith. 16 mind even. And yeah, we just hit hard. Typically we hit harder than most folks at level 200 because we are focused. So there's other really, you know, focused builds at 200. Don't get me wrong, but so if you wanted to do the Giza Wheel shenanigans, you would need the Rotted Wingsword insignia and the Axe Talisman. And as I just talked about, we have the Crimson Whirl and the Leaden for the Wizard Rodeo. It's an 8-second ride, but you will not survive. It's a rodeo. If you wanted to do the Giza Wheel thing, you would want to use Spiked Cracked Tear to enhance charge attacks, because you're charging that heavy attack, and the Thorny Cracked Tear, as well as the Axe Talisman and the Rotted Wingsword insignia. Again, it's stupid. You're going to die if you try this, but the clips that you can make with it are hilarious, and so maybe it's worth it. Anyway, that's the video. That's the late gankers. That's level 200. That's quality builds. That's YouTube. That's Saint Riot. Like and subscribe. Until next time, later, y'all.